Hi guys, this is Vidas.
And Ausra.
Let's start episode 91 of Ask Vidas and Ausra podcast. And today's question was sent by Max. And he writes, Hi Vidas, just letting you know I love your channel and have found a lot of useful hints in your theory videos, particularly. You have a clear and unaffected teaching style which is rare on YouTube. Suggestion for topics I would submit if you were looking would be organ playing in terms of continuo and supporting vocalists. I really like the use of it in Monteverdi's on Orfeo, for example. First of all, it's nice that people are using my music theory advice from YouTube videos. And talking about continuo organ playing, can we give some tips and pointers to Max? Ausra?
Well, I hope so.
So what is continuo organ continuo or basso continuo or general bass in German or figured bass, thorough bass in English?
Well, this is the system basically based on the functional harmony.
But it's a precursor to tonal harmony,
Yes,
to functional harmony,
it is.
where it's abbreviated system, right?
That's right, when you have only bass line and you have a numbers written below the bass line.
And sometimes you have a melody too.
Yeah, sometimes too, yes. But real basso continuo, that's only one line with numbers below.
Sometimes you might have a soprano line or the classic melody if you're accompanying soloist, or if it's a hymn or a chorale. So then based on those numbers you have to do what?
To fill in with chords.
At least.
Yes.
That's the basic understanding.
Yes, it depends on the tempo of a piece actually, which that particular movement is written in. Because if the tempo is very fast, like allegro or allegro molto, then only chords are sufficient. But if you have like a slow tempo, like adagio, grave, then you can add more stuff. And if you are playing with a soloist, you may create dialogues and duets, which will work very nicely. But you will not be able to do that if the tempo is very fast.
What do you mean duets? In intervals of thirds and sixths?
Yes.
With the melody,
yes,
with the soloist?
That's true.
Why thirds and sixths?
Because we sound so nice and we are good intervals in a functional harmony. You could not want to create duets and dialogues, in the fifths or octaves.
What about fourths?
Well, not as bad as fifths and octaves, but still not the best
They would
interval.
Sound empty.
Yes.
The perfect pure interval sound empty, but major and minor thirds and sixths are the most beautiful in tonal harmony and could be used in alternation or in parallel motion.
Yes.
Or in contrary motion.
And in Baroque times, composers used that basso continuo technique very often because it saved them time, it saved them paper, which was so expensive at that time. You would just have to write bass line and put some numbers.
So if you see, let's say in the bass clef, the note C,
yes,
right? Without any numbers, what would you play with your right hand?
That's the fifth chord. You would just have to add in the right hand E, G, and C.
Or C, E, G.
Yes.
Or G,
yes,
C, E.
it depends on, what you want.
Those
and what
three pitches.
Fits. Yes. But yes, the note without any number means the fifth chord.
Root position. Triad.
Yes.
And sometimes it's major, sometimes it's minor.
It depends on what the accidentals are next to the clef.
For example, if the bass note is A without any numbers, then
A minor, but if it's it has 3 sharps next to the clef, it means A major chord.
Don't you think that they would write sharp next above the note?
Well, if that's an accidental that it's not next to the clef, then yes, but if it's next to the clef, then not. No.
Mhm. So basically they would add additional accidentals.
Definitely, yes.
Mhm. Into the notation of
Yes,
the
flats, sharps,
numbers.
naturals, yes.
For example, if you see the numbering 5 and 3, and 3 is with sharp or flat
Yes, it means that you have to raise the third from the bass.
or
Or
lower.
lower, yes.
What about 5/4?
5/4, it means that this chord has a suspension.
Suspension.
Suspension, yes.
5/4 leads to 5/3.
Yes, that's right. So you always have to count from the bass.
Bass up.
Yes, from the bass up.
What else, for example? What if it's a 6 above the bass?
Well, it means a 6th chord. Then it means if it's, let's say, C, you have C in the bass, it means that you will have to have E and A.
Why E then?
Because that's a 6th chord. That's the way we write it in the basso continuo.
And from C to E it's a third. So if nothing is written, we have to imply that it's a third also.
Definitely, yes.
Unless it's a fourth too. Then
Yes,
we
could be.
omit,
Then it would be for 6th chord, of course.
like numbers would be 6/4,
Yes.
and then spelling out of the chord above C would be
C, F, and A.
6/4 chord. What about 7/5/3 chord?
That's a 7th chord.
So you add those 3 notes above the
Above,
bass.
yes.
Above, let's say G would be what?
G, B, D, and F.
So G would be in the left hand and 3 upper notes in the right hand.
Yes, well, playing continuo is the most comfortable thing. If you are doing it on the organ, just play the bass line with your pedal and add next 3 voices in your right hand. That's the most comfortable situation. And I would suggest the same if you are playing on the harpsichord, except that now your left hand would be playing a bass line. Because the close position is so perfect for basso continuo playing.
And sometimes those numbers could have just 1 number or 2 levels of numbers or even 3 levels of numbers. Or sometimes 4 if 4 notes have to be played in the right hand. Sometimes.
Yes.
Remember we played recitatives from Bach's cantatas?
Yes, I think the recitatives are the hardest thing probably to accompany.
Or from Passions.
Yes.
Especially from
Yes.
Passions.
Because the harmony is so chromatic in those pieces.
But it's not really a rocket science, Ro.
No, it's not.
You have to
It's
just
not,
count the
yes.
intervals and add necessary accidentals if they have any.
It's just matter of of practice and experience.
And once you get used to adding those chords, you could have those melodic lines and dialogues and duets.
Definitely.
Remember, somebody wrote about Bach's playing continuo that he would add 1 extra voice always, one completely sort of written out and through composed voice. If it's a duet, he could add a trio texture. If it's a trio, then quartet would sound.
That's an amazing.
He would think linearly, horizontally, not only vertically.
That's amazing, actually, pretty amazing. That's a hard thing to do.
But probably not as hard as it sounds, because you have to just think about the melody that your other voices are playing.
Well, yes, but if I would have to do it, let's say in written, I could do it definitely, because That way I will have time to think about it. But if I will have to do it on the spot, just sitting on the instrument right away, it would be very hard for me at least.
It's a matter of practice, of course.
Yes, it's
How
also a
fast
matter
you
of
can
pressing.
think.
That's true.
If you can think as fast as you can play,
But for starters, let's just be able to add those chords on the bass line while giving only numbers. It will be good enough for the starters.
all right, guys, go ahead and try out some of the continuum settings. What would be a good collection
Well,
for them to look? Krebs, probably.
Yes, because Krebs gives two voices, the soprano and the bass, so you will have only add the two middle voices. And of course, I would say Handel's
Continuous
exercise, yes.
And here we have to mention probably
Handel's harmony is simpler than Krebs, because Krebs lived later.
if you want a deeper understanding of basso continuo and how it relates to, let's say, Bach school and later to improvisation, let's recommend Pamela's method book.
Definitely,
and
yes.
by the way, she just released her second volume, long-awaited volume for polyphonic playing. And I think in the first volume you will find a lot of things and exercises with continuo.
Yes.
Improvisation and the Bach School by Pamela Reuter-Finstra. Thank you guys for listening, and thank you for applying our tips in your practice. That makes a lot of difference in your playing over long term. This was Vidas.
And Osha.
And remember, when you practice,
miracles happen.